So this is all about version control and how we use it at Start Software to give the best customer experience that we can and to control our development as best we can. So just a quick run through for you about Start Software, what we're about. We're a software business based in the UK. We've been 15 years in business. I've been coding for 30 years, unbelievably. Feels longer. So I started in I think my first commercial software when I was 14. So I was into basics and things and got in and sort of knew about Alpha but didn't really get into Alpha until quite recently, so I'll explain that to you. We've got 10 staff. Dan, who's sitting over there, one of our guys, is with us this week, plus 3 contractors. We've got 3 offices based in the UK and Australia, and we are desperate for Australian staff especially, so anybody from Australia here today that wants to come and see me later, please do. And I'll mention that about 8 times during the presentation. We are desperately short of Australian staff. So we're quality accredited. We take things pretty seriously as a company, so we've got quality accreditations in the UK, and 100% award winning. This is our big claim to fame. By that I mean we've entered one competition and we won it. So you can take stats any way you like, can you? Right, so we were Microsoft Shop until 2011. This is the most important thing for you guys here today at the Alpha conference. We were into Microsoft Access, VB, all the Microsoft tools, and I say having been aware of the Alpha product line for a little while, just as sort of a bit of a sideline, I went to the Heathrow version 11 launch where I saw Selwyn talk and Richard talk, and literally I drove back to the office and I said to my guys, right, we're changing tack, because Alpha to us from that presentation said we can deliver web software and we can deliver mobile software, and the Microsoft product line, in our opinion, had just run out of steam. So kind of a quick show of hands actually, how many old Access developers are there, or guys that still do a bit of Access work? Yeah, thanks. So we really did just change direction entirely, and it was a huge leap of faith. We've had our moments, but I can tell you that we've not regretted it one bit. And in part, and I'm sure a lot of people in this room will agree with me, it's because of the direct contact that we have with the developers, with Selwyn, and the comparison to our relationship with Microsoft there is no comparison. So there you go. One more number for you. I've been in Boston since Friday on Union Street, and I can tell you there are 8 pubs. And this morning is literally the first morning I haven't had a hangover, so thank you, Boston. Dan wanted to take me out again last night, but I had to give in. Boston has defeated me. We might just get to the end of the street, I guess, by the end of the week. What a place Boston is, though. Eh? So let me tell you what version control is. Now I need another show of hands here, please, everyone. Who uses some sort of version control product in their development? Okay, great. So version control, what is it? And by the way, I saw the light here. I was one of the majority until probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago, Dan, I should say. I was talking at the UK Access user group about something unrelated. And one of the presentations there was about version control and what the difference it had made to that particular company. Only a small company, just a couple of developers. And during the course of that presentation, I realized that I was missing a gigantic trick. I had just had my head in the sand, and version control seemed like something that other people did. I then realized it was something that Start Software should be doing, and it literally has revolutionized our business. So I might convert one or two of you guys today. Just come and grab me and Dan at lunchtime if you want to know more, obviously. So what is version control? Well, version control is a means of looking after your code and your systems that extends beyond just, it's on the laptop and I back it up to a memory stick. Okay, it's a means of giving code some security, some traceability, the ability to backtrack to any particular version, and it's a really clever idea. Now, in our particular case, one of the key drivers was our multiple developers. We do have multiple people working on the same system at the same time, and that's always fun. Code security is important to us. We wanted to make sure that our code was safe, not security as per the first presentation today, which I thought was an excellent presentation, but security in the sense of our code is safe should something happen to our laptops or us or our server. So that sort of security. Traceability is vital for us. Our products sell to quite a regulated market, and our customers need to know that a particular change has happened because of something. So I used to be a bit of a changeaholic, you know, in the sense that every software change I did, I'd need a drink afterwards, or I'd forget why I'd done the change in the first place. But with version control systems, you can always track back. You can always find out why you changed something, when you changed something, and any knock-on effect. So that's vital for us. And no reliance on individuals or their laptops. We had a situation, unfortunately, about 2 years ago with one of our guys' laptops was stolen. It was essentially secure, but the work we lost, the time we had to invest just to put pieces back together again was quite substantial. So no reliance on individual is important for us. Lastly, and this was a knock-on, a side effect really, a very positive side effect that we hadn't anticipated, and this is really what today's presentation is about as much as anything. It enabled us to create software in Alpha that the customers could update themselves. So this was a really nice side effect of us using version control systems. So we got all of that I've mentioned already, but also our customers got a huge benefit. So I'm aware that there's different levels of technical expertise in the room. I'm going to show you our customer experience, just how simple it is for them to update a system. And then I'm going to, hopefully, if I've got time, I'm going to show you a bit of code as well towards the end. So there should be a little bit of everything for everybody here today. Is my sound level still okay for the people at the back? Great, thanks. So this is what I'm going to show you. So first of all, I'm going to show you the customer experience, how it looks to them. I'm going to do a little software change myself in one of our pieces of software, show you how it looks for a developer. Because if you're a developer that is worried about this being complicated, I can show you that hopefully it isn't. What I do, my role as the gatekeeper, I used to work as a chef many years ago, and my job as a chef was to make sure that everything that went out on the pass was as I would want it to be. And that's really the role that I have in our software company. I'm the gatekeeper, and I check everything on the pass before it leaves us in software terms. So I'll show you how it works for me, and then I'll show you how, if I've got time, I'll show you exactly how the self-update process works, which is a little bit of code. So here we go, here's the customer experience. The first thing is our customers can update their own systems from a button. So that's something the customers appreciate. It means that we don't have to do the job for them. And when you've sold the same product to 40-odd customers, the prospect of updating 40 systems is just too much to contemplate. So that's the key thing from their point of view. They can always see the updates that are available to them in their software. So they get to see what's available, what's coming up, and that happens just automatically. This is a real basic. We take, I think it's 450, 500 phone calls on our support desk each month. We need to know what version the customers are running. The version number is always displayed, and it's an automatic process. By the way, we also get to know that information because our software updating process updates a central control table so we know what versions our customers are on. And today's demos, I'm going to use one of our products that we sell into a particular market, and that product's called Alpha Tracker. So first thing I need to do is just tell you a little bit about that product. It's an end-to-end business management system written in Alpha. We sell it in particular to environmental consultancies. That's our niche, so people who are looking for asbestos or fire risk or other hazardous materials. That's our sort of marketplace for this product, although it's actually a general purpose product. We've sold 40 copies of it, I guess, something like that in 18 months. It's deliberately not multi-tenant, by the way. So I know that we've got some presentations later in the week about multi-tenanted software as a service applications. This deliberately isn't. It could be. Our customers, because they're in the same niche, are paranoid about other companies in that environment seeing data or managing to hack in, or, you know. So they all want the software on individual servers. That's the reason. It's not a technical reason. It's a choice. It's a rewrite of an existing Microsoft Access SQL system. That software we developed over 10 years or so. We turned the Alpha one round, well, the initial versions which we sold, we were probably to market in less than 6 months. We're still developing it, but it's, you know, the ability of Alpha to deliver software quickly really enabled us to do that. And this is perhaps a story for next year. If we get invited back next year, if I get out with my life today, and my liver still functions in 12 months' time, I'll tell you about how we've created Alpha Tracker to be completely settings driven. So although we've got 40 clients and they all use it in completely different ways and it looks completely different for each of them, there's one code base. And that's something we've learned over the years. You know, the way of creating systems, different systems for different clients, and ending up with different code bases is the road to madness. So perhaps next time. Right, so let me show you a little bit of the system. This, by the way, is Windows 10. Perhaps if I'd put that on my presentation, we'd have got you really excited. Who's used Windows 10 yet? Quick show of hands. Just a couple. It actually looks quite good. After the monstrosity that was Windows 8, I think Windows 10 might be okay, after all. The start button's back. So, oh, I did get a round of applause. So this is Alpha Tracker. This is, they log in this here dashboard. You get the idea. You've seen Alpha systems before. We don't mess with we don't try too hard with to change things too much, although I see how each customer's system looks quite different. What I'll do is I'll just show you a couple of things. Down towards the bottom, if I just make this slightly smaller and make use of my magnifying glass, possibly. There we go. There's a version number down at the bottom and a date. Can everyone see that okay? Is it on the screens, yeah? 713. So that version number is the version of this particular demo server. And a customer wanting to see if there's anything available to them to update goes into the setup menu. They go into a system option here and click the software updates, and this is just going to present a simple list of software updates that are available for their particular system. The updates themselves can be two types. I know it's hard to read because it's small writing on your screen, but this is just these are version numbers down the left-hand side. They're either versions that bring the software up to a particular level, or they're sticky updates. Sticky updates are ones that we always leave on the list. They're sticky, they stay on the list. So they're things like user guide updates, could be variations to how the system looks, just CSS that comes down basically. So they're things that always remain on the list. Now in this particular case, there isn't an update available for me beyond the version that I'm on, because I'm on 713 on here. There isn't an update that's available to me, so I'm at the latest version of the software. If I wanted to run an update, so let's suppose that they wanted to bring down the latest user guide and training guide, they click the button, they get a little wait dialog. Anybody here with Jerry yesterday knows how that's done. And the software is now self-updating. So this is a demo, this is a server that's running in Germany somewhere, I think. It's refreshing the components that are embedded in that update. It's doing things like updating the SQL structure if it needs to. It's taking backups of files as it's doing it. I'll cover this in a bit more detail later on. But essentially that update is now running through. Once it's finished, it'll tell the user the update's ready and they move on. So from a customer's point of view, updating is literally as simple as clicking a button. So the bits that you need to make all of this happen, the version control system happen, let me just explain the technicalities. You need somewhere a version control server. We use Subversion or SVN. We have a server running that in the cloud. That's open source, I think. Yeah, people are nodding, yeah, I don't think we pay for that. It's just a piece of software you install, runs on a server. We have a piece of software that runs on the developers' laptops, which integrates that product with Windows Explorer, and I'll show you that in a minute. So that, again, just a little open source, download, stick it on your developer laptops. And finally, we have a SQL server, which we run on an Amazon AWS cloud server that holds the table of software updates. That's essentially the grid that you were just looking at just then. Okay, so those are the three pieces that you need to make all this work. We also have a bit of people stuff around this. We have a monthly planning cycle, meetings to review what we're going to do, and a video blog. So if you're particularly interested in seeing what an SVN server looks like, that's what it looks like. So this list here that I'm just scrolling through, these are all of our software products that we have under version control. So Alpha Tracker is one of them. Okay, so we have lots and lots of systems in our company, and they're all under SVN control. The Amazon server looks like that. That's just, again, another server with a control database with, in this case, a table of updates. Simple as that. Obviously, you could host that any way you wanted to. And I've completely stolen Selwyn's ideas for videos. What we do each month is blog the changes that we've done in a little video blog, and that gives you an idea of what the customer sees there. So the actual pieces that you need as a company to get going with version control are actually quite simple. So next one, let me show you what it looks like from a developer's point of view. It's a really simple process. First of all, the developer will update their local copy to make sure they're working on the most recent version of the software. They make the change, they test it locally, publish it locally, nothing different there, completely normal alpha process. They then commit that change back to the repository, and that updates the central version control database with that source code. The clever bit from our point of view is that automatically at that point, what's called a hook script runs, which updates a version number text file, which goes into the alpha product. This is how the version number is displayed to the customer. So there's a little bit of automatic processing going on there. And then the developer emails me the change components. So I'll just quickly show you that in Explorer, just to show you how simple that is. So if I go to my Alpha Tracker folder here, this is where the Alpha project is saved. I right-click, Tortoise, Update, and that's going to talk to our version control server and pull anything down that's changed. And I'm doing this live, which is terrifying. And it looks like it's going to work. Excellent. Okay, so these components have changed. I've got some red bits and bobs here. These are things that I've modified as well as the developer. So we've got a conflict. So it's going to ask me in a minute how I want to deal with the conflict. And Dan has been very busy. Dan, I should have told you not to put too much on. There you go, it's finished. So it's told me that I've now got version 7.16. These things have come down, and I'm going to accept Dan's changes here because I haven't been doing anything he has. Okay, so I've got now the latest version. I would then just change the software as normal in Alpha. Anybody remember version 11? Nostalgia, it's not what it used to be. So I would then make a change in here, do whatever I wanted to do, publish it locally, test it locally, and then to commit back, it's just a right-click commit. No, it's as simple as that. So if you've worried about version control being complicated, it really isn't, okay? So that's the developer experience. From the published web route, so hopefully many of you will be familiar with this if you're developers yourselves, here what Dan would be doing if Dan had done the change is he would then be email me the changed component or components, and this version text file I mentioned, which automatically gets updated if I didn't commit, so mine says 699. If I'd have committed, it would have had the latest version number on. So developer experience is really easy. If I just run through and just show you now what I have to do. So I received the change of components in an email. So Dan would email me and say, this has changed, it's version 7.14. I zip up the things that have changed, I check them locally, zip up the things that have changed, and create a zip file with just the changed components and the text file, and possibly a SQL script if the structure of our SQL database is also changing, because this can do SQL too. I then upload that to our Amazon control server so that it's then ready to be applied by a customer, and I can choose to make it public, so that it's a minor or major update and whether it's sticky or not. And again, that's really straightforward. Here I've just got a simple grid that connects back to that control database. If I just say this is now 7.14, I think it is. Dan, was it 7.14? Can you remember? Yeah. Today's date, this is a test update. Please do not apply. I'll save that away. I'll say it's a minor one. And at this point, I just use the upload zip option, and I'm going to I'll pick September's update, which is the one we're working on at the moment. It's a 5 meg file, so it'll take a while. That uploads, and that is then available for a customer. It's available for a customer because I've marked it as public. If I didn't want it to be public, obviously I'd take the tick off, and the customer wouldn't see it. So I'll just let that run through. Keep an eye on that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
With so many people on different versions and you doing a lot of different versions, do you do cumulative updates then?
We do, yeah. So our minor and major updates, the question was how do we cope with people on different versions and how do we make sure that we can bring people from a particular version all up to the same version? And thanks for the question. Minor updates in our terminology rely on the previous versions being there. So it's just the change components. We do now and again do major updates which bring everybody up to the same level. So they're all components in our software would be in the zip. They're pretty rare now, especially as the software's grown. That's now updated. I've got it down there, it's 7.1.4. So if I flick back to my Windows 10 machine and I go back and I'll just log back out and in again, just to make sure it's refreshed from the update I was running previously. Then what we should see is if I go back to the update screen, that's now talking to the Amazon server, asking whether there's anything new has appeared, and hopefully, can you all see that okay? 7.1.4 test update? Yeah? So that update I've just put live on our product, and I'm banking on the fact it's 5 o'clock in the UK, no one's actually going to try and update it and bring their systems down. So I'll take it off being public in a minute. Question? Yep, fire away.
Can a customer back out or undo an update?
Yeah, so what actually has just happened, and so I can just, this is my final slide, you'll be glad to hear, and so will Dave, because I think we've caught up 5 minutes. The update itself, what is it actually doing? And that will answer your question, sir. The first thing so what did that update do? When I clicked the button that said run the update, what did it actually do? Well, the first thing that it did was it backed up the whole of the web root folder for that customer. So we've taken a copy, it actually zips it up and calls the zip the version number, so we've got unlimited backups going out to our customers automatically. The next thing it did was it downloaded the zip from our Amazon control server and extracted it and overwrote the change component, simple as that. It looked for a SQL update file, so we can change the structure of our database behind Alpha Tracker just by putting a SQL file, a SQL script file into the update itself. If there is a SQL file there that uses a command called OSQL, which if you're into SQL you'll be familiar with, it's a command line instruction that lets you run SQL scripts. So that would then change the customer's SQL database. We also have a mechanism in our software where the customers can run their own reports. Obviously, these aren't alpha reports. These are actually SQL select statements or views which bring data to the screen, which they can download in Excel and print off and do various things. All of those are updated at the same time. So by updating their software, they automatically get the latest set of management reports in their system. It updates our central control table, so we know what version all of our customers are running. We also know how many records they have in each table. So we can keep an eye on who our busy customers are, who might be having performance problems, and essentially just keep an eye. It's a little bit of usage information there comes back to us. Clears the AX cache in case we've put a new AX file into the update, and then it asks the user to log in and log out. So what happens if a customer updates and wants to back out? They typically call our support desk and we just extract from their backup zip and put them back as they were. And then the update bit of code goes for a lie down and a nice cup of tea. Now, I've run out of time. If anybody wants to see the code behind the update, just come and grab me sometime and I'll just flash it up. It's because of the nature of the functions that are available in Alpha for things like zipping up, unzipping. It's probably 25 lines of code, 30 lines of code, that's all. It's really simple. So that whole update process and all of that stuff it's doing there is very few lines of code. Process works a treat. Customers love it. It's easy for us, no hassle, and that's what version control has done for us. Thanks very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Any questions, just grab me afterwards. The reason we chose it was like how all good decisions are made. Somebody said, have you tried Subversion and this method? And I said no, and I just nicked it off them. So yeah, there are probably better ways of doing what we do, but this works well for us, and it's something we've evolved over the last 18 months, 2 years. But yeah, it's a nice, slick procedure. It hasn't cost us any money particularly, and it's certainly saved us and our customers an awful lot of time.